Hello and welcome to another episode of This Week in Metropolis with me, James, and him over there, Matt. This Week in Metropolis, a podcast all about the world of pop culture from the last 7 days. And we're going to be talking lots about that today because it is just the two of us today. No guests. Sad face from Matt. But we're going to be talking about the potential death of Twitter and maybe social media on the whole. And lots more. We've got a question from Mark as well. That's a tearjerker. And we've also got lots of stories that have caught our eye over the past week. But Matt, on this 99th episode, I might add, where can the viewers and listeners find us?
Well, while there still is social media, you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter before it implodes. You can follow us on TikTok. We don't do a lot on there, but it's quite good what we do on there. Most importantly, you can watch us every week live, and I hope you are now, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. Or alternatively, you can listen to us. And you can listen to us on all major streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, etc. So you don't have seen these beautiful faces, but it's a bit of a shame that you don't. But before we get stuck into the episode, how about listening to this?
Hello and welcome to This Week in Metropolis.
Well, here we are again, Matt.
We're at the cusp, aren't we? Like that's how I'm going to describe it. We're at the cusp. We can just see it. We can just touch it.
It's like Everest. It's like we've climbed Everest.
That's it. We see the top, and just oh my God, it's nearly there. If you don't know what we're talking about, we've been talking about this for probably about 3 seasons, so you should know. It is nearly the 100th episode, which is a very exciting thing. To think that we have sat here like this for, if you've put it in hours, over 100 hours. Can you believe that?
That's a bit mad, isn't it? And some of them have been longer.
Yeah, some have been longer, so it's probably over 100 hours. But
Triforce.
Triforce's episode was pretty much 50 hours and before I edited it down. So yeah, amazing.
And just think where we are now on the horizon. Episode 100 is here. We will talk more about that towards the end of the show to let you all know what the plan is for that. But
can I just say, before we get into anything, we had Martin on the show last week, and we knew that Martin, it was a big weekend for Martin. He was going to Florida, he was getting married, and he's turned up today. Now that's dedication. That's either really sad or he's really dedicated. Mine, we're honoured. I hope everything went well for you. Yeah, and your episode was awesome. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Definitely.
Yeah.
And enjoy your dinner, whatever that was.
Yeah. But listen, while we're here, Matt, we might as well say hello to all the other people that are with us tonight. So, Shane, the Quizler from Dawn of Comics, he's here. Hi, Shane. James Copley's here. Yo, in the house. We've also got Phil from Phil's Nerdiverse. Hello there all.
Phil made it on time this week, which is
he's done really well. He's done really well. I know he's had a heavy weekend as well at Thought Bubble with. And can I just say, it was great to see so many of the posts coming through. I think all the guys that were at Thought Bubble, seeing them all come together.
Everyone's together in real life.
Yeah, we weren't, Matt. And Connie, she was at Thought Bubble. Hi, Connie. Evening nerds. It's a bit harsh.
But accurate.
But accurate. And you've mentioned Martin's comment. We've also got Triple G, the man himself. Look, it's all of the Thought Bubble guys that are here. So, evening. Hope you're all well. If you are here, get involved in the comments, get involved in the chat. You've been great this series. Not so much all the others, but this series, I'm joking. This series, it's been manic, trying to keep up with the chat during the episodes. But listen, Matt, I know we've got lots to go through. We've got to kick off with the biggest story, probably from today, not just the past week, from today.
Yeah.
What did you have for tea?
I had a very, very average tea. To the extent that I'm actually quite hungry now because I didn't eat much of it. It was one of those, let's eat down the freezer days. So we've got a load of pasta in the freezer. Let's just put that all together in the saucepan and put it with, so add a bit more sauce to it, and
Oh, so they're meals that you had and then froze, yeah? Like
several
reheat.
leftover pasta meal
Yeah.
combined. Then make a little bit more sauce. No,
just didn't work.
Thankfully, my wife never listens to this podcast, so it was just.
But she's in the room next door, so
I really did enjoy it. So what did you have? Was it better than that? I hope it was better than that.
Well, it's funny because for those that don't know, me and Matt used to work together. I'm sure you all know that anyway. And whenever we'd have this sort of conversation at work, what did you have last night, Matt? Oh, what did you have? There was a particular dinner that I used to say sometimes I had, and you'd go, "That's not a dinner." Do you remember what that was?
I'm trying to think because that sounds really familiar now. A bowl of soup. That's what you used to say, wasn't it?
We had homemade soup tonight, which was from the pumpkins that we had from Halloween. So we had pumpkin soup.
Wow.
And some really nice crusty bread rolls. Yeah. Just blast from the past. Just made me think, I know Matt's not going to be impressed with that.
Well, pumpkin related, it's currently in the shed and we never did anything with it. Kerry's dad grew a pumpkin that is that big. And I'm not even lying. It is probably 3 foot by 3 foot. This pumpkin is absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm.
What to do with it after Halloween? I don't know. But yeah.
Well, plenty of soup apparently. Soup is not a dinner, says Shane. It's a starter. So true. But this was very filling. I had a lot of bread with it.
That's what I was going to say. How much bread did you? Was it like half a loaf or something?
I probably had about three part-baked rolls with it as well.
See, Connie's dinner, I would have much preferred chili. I absolutely love, but chili is one of those things that's a real sticking point in this house. The boys hate it. I love it. So everyone else puts up with it when I want it. But hey, what can you do?
Yeah. And James Copley says, this is where I'm going. What about big soup? Yeah, that's a dinner with half a loaf of bread.
Half a loaf of bread, exactly. Buttered.
Phil's is the best one. I only eat soup at Christmas. I mean, I never even...
What flavour soup? I'd be intrigued. I'd probably only eat soup at Christmas when you go out for the obligatory work do, and that's the starter. I will probably have soup.
The prawn cocktail?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, I love a prawn cocktail.
I'm not eating prawn cocktail. You know what I'm like with seafood.
Islands. Oh, amazing.
God, no.
Bit of Mary Jane. Is it Mary Jane?
Mary Jane. No, that's something very, very different. If it was a Marie Rose sauce, Mary Jane sauce on the thingy, I might consider it, but no.
Yeah. Mary Jane sauce. Something that I know just from seeing who's watching live at the moment probably aren't going to be that bothered. Well, one person is. I know Phil will be interested because.
But we'll keep it brief. It's fine.
We'll keep it brief. But a little bit of a weekend sports wind up on Matt because you've got into football. You're a glory hunting Man City fan.
Yeah.
And you lost to Brentford. Yeah. So Brentford have beaten both of us now. So it can't really be. And they got you on your home turf as well.
Who got beaten more by Brentford?
But you got beat at home. No, but you got beat at home. It's completely different.
Look, they deserve to lose. They weren't playing.
And you've got a better team with us.
There you go. The funny story about this, and we will keep it brief because this isn't a football show, but I had BT Sport. Because I am a glory hunting Man City fan, I wanted to watch every game, and I'm getting very excited about every game. And you'd love it, James. I put my Man City shirt on. I get all ready for it. I cancelled BT Sport because there were so few Man City games because World Cup's coming up and so on. Literally 15 minutes before that game, I saw on the lineup. I thought, Haaland's starting. He's not played for a while. Oh God, I've got to watch it. FOMO'd into subscribing for another month for BT Sport for 25 quid for that one game, the only Man City game.
Well, yeah, because you're not going to have any games now for 6 weeks.
So I paid 25 quid to watch that team lose.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Not as amazing as some other guests that have joined us. Isla's here. Hi, Isla. Nice to see you. Also,
However,
a returning guest, 69xxx.life. Good to see you as well. Thanks
isn't this a different message, though? This week, I'm sure last week wasn't. This week, for everyone that's listening, we're being offered a new dating for all tastes and ages.
Yeah,
which
well,
is
maybe
good.
they've gone and looked at some of the people that were in the chat
And
last
the
week.
demographic. That's it.
It's quite a wide demographic. So good to see you. Thanks for joining us again. And well, Triple
Don't forget to
G,
subscribe. Yeah.
Pete's happy. Paul Bot's back. So good. Well, that's the football chat out the way. We won't talk about Ronaldo because, oh my God. Can you imagine? Let's take football aside. Can you imagine actually getting paid a shit ton of money and then saying you don't respect your boss in an interview
about it,
broadcast across the world?
I'd be happy to sit on a bench and get paid what he does. Bring it on. I'll sit there. I won't do anything. I'd be happy as well.
Imbecile. And Piers Morgan, don't even get me started. Right. So, well, the theme of this show, Matt, which you kindly put together, is related to, I'm guessing, all to do with Elon Musk and what he's going through with taking over Twitter and now being the head honcho. Where was your thought process on this?
Well, I just think it's a really interesting thing. We've talked about it briefly before, the whole debacle of him saying, I want to buy it and I want to transform it. And then not long afterwards saying, oh, no, I don't want to. And then potentially going to court and that whole thing going on. And then suddenly saying, I'm going to buy it again.
Yeah.
But what seems to have happened is sort of, I don't know, to me, it's a bit of, it's like watching a car crash happen. And, yeah, I can't believe it. Elon Musk is someone that we've talked about. We've sort of had a lot of comment about him on the show as someone who's done Tesla. Amazing that how he's brought electric cars to the forefront. He's SpaceX. He's putting people into space. He's sending rockets to space stations stuff. Hyperloop, amazing stuff. And you would think from that, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to run a business. Whereas almost on a daily basis, you are watching an absolute, fire sale of a thing. And the fact that he sacked all the senior staff, he sacked something like, I think I read half of the business they've got rid of, basically. So you imagine taking over a business and sacking half the staff and things like that. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But and now to the point where there's articles I was reading today where it said basically people were downloading their tweets because they don't think it'll be around for much longer. That was the mood that Twitter's completely doomed because he's been deleting parts of the code that he thinks he doesn't need. Is the impression. It's like, I don't need all that code. Let's just delete all of that and the website will still be fine. And it's slowing down and there are bits that are slowly breaking. And potentially it's, going to die at some point. What would you think of it?
I was hoping that he'd just come in and for the time being, make a plan rather than just start doing things instantly. The whole verification blue ticks. Yeah. So now you have to pay something like I think it works out about $6.
$8, yeah, I think, yeah.
Now, that's all well and good. Although I have seen, I think some people, if you are a genuine, if it's, I don't know,
it's a government or something.
No. Even I think Jake Humphreys or whatever, it says official or something like that. There's like a new layer underneath where it's official. So you've got a blue tick and you've got this other thing.
There's a grey tick or something.
The best thing I saw the other day was on LinkedIn. I was at work and someone had shared this thing, and it was it was George W. Bush, and it had a blue tick.
Yeah.
And was in a conversation with Tony Blair with a blue tick.
They're both fake ones.
And they were both fake ones because the statement, the tweets that had gone out were like, oh my God, it definitely isn't it definitely wouldn't be them, but it was essentially some swearing and all that and saying they were going to go and bomb a load of people or something like that. or I would have done this or whatever. And you're just like, God, that's everything you used to see on Twitter would be, you'd see it and you'd know if it was legit or not. And there were so many people with spam accounts and things like that. And that's what I think he needs to get to the bottom of, rather than it just being about whether it's verified.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I did see the weird thing with that, like with the blue tick thing as well, is I think someone spent something like $100 to see how many blue ticks they could get. And it was the case that you could get, I think it was it 26? It was some ridiculous number.
After your name?
You could add to it, like, because every £8 you paid, you got another blue tick. There was some ridiculously like that as well. It's just madness. But I think Phil's just made a comment, and I think that's something that I've thought as well. Like, Phil said the Twitter workforce wasn't a workforce; it was a social life, and I think I know what he means with that. A lot of things like Elon's gone in and said, well, we're cutting 3 meals. You have to actually work in the office. You have to do like those sort of things, which for the world has changed in terms of remote working and whatever. I work remotely, you work remotely. But there were certain things, I guess it was that sort of Google social media tech culture of do what you want when you want it, and maybe it is the case that he's trying to put it into a real business.
Yeah,
because as far as I know, it didn't really make a lot of money, if any money. So on the changes for the better, but you just don't know, do you?
Do you? I mean, one thing we spoke about before we came on air was how it might impact on other social media, because I use social media a lot, but then maybe that's because for how we work as with our show, you'll do all the stuff in the background, and then I tend to do all the social media posts and things like that. So I'm keeping an eye on what everyone else is posting, and it's good to keep up and see what else is going on from a personal point of view, as well as enjoying all that stuff. I've got my own personal profiles on all of them accounts as well, so it's almost twofold for me, and my interests outside of what we do is mainly football, is a little bit of wrestling here and there. So all
ages dating.
All ages dating. I don't go on social media for that one though. But yeah, I probably spend quite a lot of time on there. So it's not something I would see as a dying thing. But what are your thoughts on the rest of them? Because you tend to take breaks.
Yeah, I know I do. I tend to sort of, it's almost within the sort of sequence of the episodes as such. I'm more active on it while we're live, and actually putting out content. Other than that, I switch off. That's more of a creative thing. I find it kills my creativity being constantly on. So I come off and then I can be creative, and then I'll sort of come back again. But the thing I've read a few things. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it sort of just brought it to my attention of, I guess, how reliant we are on certain services. And we've experienced it when there's been an outage of Instagram or WhatsApp or something like that. And you think, what do I do now almost? And pretty much everyone in the comments, does their thing on a social media network of some description. It's YouTube, it's Instagram and stuff. That's how we met each other. Like, that's how we sort of put out our stuff, and that's the channels we use. And it's weird seeing something like Twitter and thinking, if Elon completely messes up, it might not be there anymore. And people have forged their lives on that service, and what if it did go? Because even though it's prominent, and like Phil said, news stories break on Twitter. Like, I've done it in the past. Twitter I don't use as much as the others, but if you hear a rumor of a news story, you can find what it is pretty quickly on Twitter, because people are talking about it. And it's got quite a big legacy of that, when various political events, Arab Spring and all that stuff, like 10 years ago or whatever, these big things that have happened it's been a lifeline for a lot of people to get that news out. So it's more of a public service rather than anything else, than a money making venture.
Well, and also kind of something for news as well. That's good and bad as well, because as we've seen, I remember when, going back when we worked together, and probably this happened since as well, with like when there's been like really bad news happening, like with mass killings and things like that. Do you remember when there was that? I think there's been a few now where they actually like live streamed it, and it was all, and literally you'd be scrolling through Twitter, and then all of a sudden it's there, and you see a guy going around killing people. And I'm one who will always watch that sort of thing, because not because I'm going, this is amazing, because I'm just utterly like shocked that I am literally sat there in the middle of nowhere in the UK watching that happen.
Seeing someone on the other side of the world doing something truly awful. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Awful. But is that, again, we're live streaming now. Do you know what I mean? We're on Facebook Live, we're on Twitch. Is that a good thing? I mean, it's a good thing for us, but at the same time, is it too easy? Look at us. We haven't had to do much to get this up and running.
No, exactly.
And it just shows you kind of some of the pitfalls, I think.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing of it is like I guess sort of a final comment on the subject is, it's interesting when you look back to like when Facebook came out, or when Twitter came out. I remember seeing Twitter for the first time, thinking that's a bit weird. Because I think the examples that they used were things like, oh, you can tell people what you've had for dinner, like we just talked about. I remember at the time thinking, why would you want to do that? Why would you just want to do a short message about that sort of stuff? But all of the social networks were about connecting people. Like, it was about sharing with each other and bringing people together. Facebook especially, like, tell your friends what you're doing, blah 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 blah. But now it's changed, and very much what social media is all about. The advertising is all about selling you something, like, and it's encouraging you to do things. Like we spoke about Instagram recently. Instagram wants you to post videos now. Like, Instagram wants you to look at a particular thing because it makes more money from it, and it's less about contacting people. Luckily, we've been able to do it with what we do, and we've had great success in that, and met all these wonderful people all around the world that we would have never have met before. But it's a shame that there is still that, and Shane mentioned it in the comments, bit like the darker side of Twitter, and like how people are attacking each other and stuff like that. There's that, and there's the advertising and stuff. And Facebook being a good example of, they invested something like 15 billion in the metaverse, and they've now had to sack 11,000 people because they're just losing money. It's not working for them. It's funny how these things have changed, and is it the end? You don't know.
Well, it's funny how we were talking about the metaverse when it was all the news was breaking about that, and what was the future of what that is. And now we're looking at them letting loads of people go because it's not taking off as they'd hoped. But
however, on the news today,
I just got to say, Bebo, what a legend of a platform that was.
Let's go on to this. I was going to say something, but it doesn't really matter. I've put together a quiz. Let's end this on a light note, because James always gets the opportunity to do a quiz with me and the guest, which I thoroughly enjoy. But I thought, let's put a quiz to James. And let's do it based on social media. And I'm glad Bebo's been mentioned, because Bebo is in this quiz. So get your thinking cap on. The quiz, it's not got a name, it's not got a jingle, but it's still going to be fun. It's just guessing. So it is, what dates or when did social media sites arrive? Like, when was their launch years?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with the Quizler's favourite one, MySpace. What year did MySpace come out? And guess in the comments along with us.
I want to say MySpace was probably mid to late 90s.
Really?
Oh, you say that like
really?
Really? Is that what you think? That's got to be before.
Steve's in the house. Play along with us.
Hey, Steve. Tell us, Steve. When 2001? Okay. I was thinking like 98. So.
God, there's quite a range. I mean, Isla's with you on that. 99.
I'm going to say
98. 98. You'll be pleased to know it is 2003. was when MySpace
2003,
came out. 2003, yeah.
No,
Quite late.
surely not.
Yeah, it is. It's the facts. The internet told me that was the date, so we've got to believe it. Facebook. When did Facebook
Again,
arrive?
I would have thought Facebook was after MySpace.
I can confirm that it was after MySpace, because MySpace was one of the earlier ones.
Yeah. That was 2003. I'm going to say 2007. Let's see what some of the others say. 2005, 2006, 2004, 2007.
I can say that Steve and Shane are right. It was 2004 that came out.
That might be when I joined Facebook. I was very anti-social media when I was because it felt it's a bit like when let's talk like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. You know them shows that everyone goes on about, and you just
everyone's into it. And you thought, no, I don't want a part of this.
Yeah.
I loved. Go on.
No, I was just going to say I was a bit like that with a lot of the social medias.
I loved MySpace. I absolutely loved MySpace. I had 3,000 friends on MySpace.
Wow.
Weirdly.
Where are they now, Matt?
Oh yeah, where are they now? Exactly.
Watching
they're meaningless.
somewhere.
They're not definitely not watching. I did it for my music. I had a page for music. I could do the little HTML codes and change the color and the background and embed YouTube videos, which was really cool. And absolutely loved it.
Nice.
But it's a shame with MySpace when they changed the look of it. I just wish they'd kept the
original format
things as they were. So it was so cool. What we've been talking about, Twitter. How about Twitter?
Later? Is it higher or lower?
I was surprised with this one. It's all I'm going to say. I was surprised.
That makes me think it was a lot earlier then. No, it must have been after. What year was Facebook? 2004?
Facebook's 2004, yeah. Lots of if you want influence from the crowd, 2006, 2008, 2006. All around similar sort of time.
I'm going to go with Connie on this one, 2007.
You should have gone with everyone else, which was 2006, because that's what it was. But it was close. I was surprised. I thought it was much later. I didn't realise it was that early, personally. Another one that really surprised me, LinkedIn. Because that's a social network. I know people don't think it is.
No, it
is.
An
interesting LinkedIn fact. The people that created LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, I think his name is, he owns the patent for the social network, social networking. He owns the patent for it. So,
interesting.
There you go.
LinkedIn, I'm going to say 2010.
Well, quite a varied range here. 2010, Phil, Connie 2011, 2001, 2003. Wow, it's quite a mix.
99, says Phil.
I was really surprised, but it is 2003. I thought it was much later. I can't believe LinkedIn's been around that long. But
Island G, smashing it.
Apparently has. Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest, I would have said 2010 or something like that. I wouldn't have known. So, Instagram, our favourite, my favourite, I'd say. I think it's a collective favourite.
2012.
Straight in 2012.
Straight in.
That's don't even think about it.
Is it because I've just looked at Steve's that says LinkedIn 2012? let me just think. 2012.
Is Steve influencing you? Just to dwell on the comments a bit regarding LinkedIn, Connie has said great people have been bragging about pointless shit for 20 years. Yes, they have.
I like Phil's on my 2012. Definitely not 2012. My first pick was 2011.
So what we're saying, Instagram.
I'm going 2012.
Well, I can tell you you're wrong. Isla got that on the nose. 2010 that came out.
God, I feel like every one I've actually been saying the answer for the next one the year before. So my next one will be 2012.
The next one is the big one. We've got 2 left. The next one, Bebo. I had to put it in there.
I loved Bebo. Bebo was good. Bebo. 2000. How old would I have been? I'm going to say 2003.
2003. Well, I can tell you you're wrong.
It was 2012.
No, Connie's got it right. Phil's got it right. 2005, which I'm quite surprised as well with that. I thought that would be much earlier.
I'm going to have to get these double checked and verified by the people who set up all of these firms.
Yeah, that's it. TikTok is the final one. TikTok.
Easy.
Go on.
2018?
No, it's.
We're not very good at this quiz, apparently.
It is 2016. Well done, Phil. You got it exactly right, which is unbelievable, isn't it? That it's so far away. The interesting stats as well, just to finish off. Twitter has 238 million users. Instagram, in comparison, has 2 billion. It shows you the difference in size of the two. Twitter is a much smaller thing. You feel it's a lot bigger, but in terms of its reach, it's significantly smaller.
Isn't it funny how, I mean, again, with Instagram, I thought it's never going to take off. People just posting pictures. And look at it now. It's like you say, it's videos, it's everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's not everything, but yeah.
It's everything to me.
Yeah. I still think Twitter and Instagram have their own, and TikTok have their own niche. Facebook's the one. Facebook I've been tempted to get rid of for years now.
I haven't logged into it for well over a year.
Yeah.
Don't even know the password. Can I just highlight that Connie has 4 Instagram accounts? How do you manage that?
Maybe she's in 4 different relationships.
Wow, imagine that.
You hear about that, don't you? Where
heard it here first. Yeah.
There you go. Well, listen. Why don't you have 4? Yeah, good point.
Why not? Yeah.
Maybe I should have at least one more.
I've got 2, but one I don't use. And then you set up.
Technically, I do have 3. Then, yeah.
You have quite a few because you've got your one, you've got the twin one, you've got
Disciples of Porteous, which is clearly the most important one. Yeah, that's it. So sorry, Connie, you're right.
What should we do next? What
shall we do next? I tell you, I've just got this feeling that we haven't heard from him for like a week, so let's bring him in. Mark, are you there?
Question mark. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me back on. Obviously, I went to see Black Panther: Wakanda Forever on Friday, and it was very emotional. So I was wondering, what is the film, or I suppose TV show, that makes you emotional every time you watch it? Cheers. Question mark.
Oh man, for the viewers, I hope you all noticed that I didn't know that was coming. With Mark's little face emoji crying.
He was emotional at that moment.
Well, listen, I was worried when he sent us the question because I thought it was going to be, what are your thoughts on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which we haven't seen yet, but we are going to see hopefully next week. But he didn't. He mentioned it's emotional. I know Mark gets a bit emotional at these Marvel films, and there's good emotion in them. You know, you've only got to look back at kind of
Disney know how to drill into
that
emotion, don't they? It's like you're not escaping unless you feel really beaten up by this. Yeah.
Iron Man's funeral. Just think about that. Just think about when he died.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What things though? I mean, now here's the thing. I am notoriously known for being a very emotional guy.
Yeah. I have been told that I'm dead inside. So there's the contrast, with these two things.
You were probably limited for options on this question. Where mine's as long as my arm.
Go on, hit me with one. Yeah, what have you got?
Children in Need.
So that's a shared one. I no longer watch Comic Relief because the last time I properly watched Comic Relief, I got really cut up about it. And then I rung up and pledged them a load of money just to make myself feel better. And I can't afford to do that all the time. So, yeah, just can't do it. It tears me apart.
Well, this is one of the best answers I think I've seen. Highland G. Cool Runnings when they carry the slipper line. Powerful shit, though. That is powerful. There's a message there.
It's a good film. I don't think I'd ever cry at it.
No, I don't think I've cried. Wow, Connie says, Doctor Who is my emotional show. I cry at it a lot, though I also cry every time I watch Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3, I remember sitting there thinking, good God, I'm having to hold this in because this is a rough ride.
Armageddon. Whoa, what a film. I don't want to close my eyes. Right, yeah, no. That's the one. Oh, God. It's coming. No, I'm with you there, Phil. I'm with you there. I haven't watched that film for years. I need to watch
I don't know.
Have a good cry.
I don't know whether I've seen that in its entirety.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of it, I think, but I don't know whether I've seen it in its entirety. Yeah.
I've got some other things. There's more.
Come on. The tier index. Let's go through it.
I'm a sucker for a sob story.
Yeah.
And only this weekend just gone was watching Strictly Come Dancing and sobbed.
What?
I think the thing is, right, me and Hayley watch it and I can appreciate there's a lot of skill involved in it.
I love Strictly.
Don't you dare, right? But
Tony Adams should have won. I'm just
he should have gone weeks ago. But listen, we're not doing sport. My point is, I think one of the things for me is it's a bit like going back to Children in Need and Comic Relief and all that. When you see people getting emotionally cut up about things, that kind of then touches something in me sometimes, not in a weird way. And like this week, there was obviously a couple of dances where they'd set, I think Will Mellor's one was about, dedicated to his dad. There was one where Kim Marsh, I think she'd lost one of her children.
Yeah.
And then even like Hamza, who my kids absolutely love.
Seeing him cry,
that's what I mean. When you see people get emotional, like for me, that
was
chokes
lovely.
me up, man.
I like that though, because that's genuine. With like the other two, where it makes me feel like it's like that X Factor thing, or like the
I get that.
You've heard me rant plenty of times about Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Oh, my whole family died. That's why I want to win. It's like whatever. What's that got to do with it? But now
I'm going to perform this magic trick.
Yeah, exactly. In honor of them. It makes no sense.
Oh God.
So yeah. That's why people say I'm dead inside with comments like that.
Oh my God, this one gets me. Being a dog owner, Marley and Me.
Never seen it.
Oh, don't. Yeah. Just don't watch it.
No.
More, you ask? Right. So there was actually one the other day, and I've done a post about this. You might have read it, but you don't go on social media, so you might not have. And I can't remember if I even spoke about this on the last show, but I was talking to George, my son, who's 6. About Black Panther, and I was watching whatever the latest trailer was for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I was showing him and he said, "Where's Black Panther, Dad?" And I was like, well, it's going to be someone different in this one. And I explained it all to him, and it was more the look on his face knowing that Chadwick Boseman weren't, because I think, as I mentioned in this, we don't sometimes realise, like for us it's just another TV like movie or whatever, and they're great, but I don't look up to them and go, "You're my hero," because they're fictional characters. Whereas for youngsters, and we were all there once, like he looks up to him and thinks like he is his favourite superhero. So for me to have to explain that choked me up again. Like, so that was watching Black Panther trailer. So not even a film.
I felt a bit emotional watching Black Panther, the new trailer. I'll be honest, it's just how they do it. It's the music, and then they show you something. You're like, oh my god, like what's happening? Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. There's probably loads that go on.
I was just gonna say, like, in going to Mark's question, he said like something that you cry every time you see. I don't think there's not necessarily a reoccurring thing that I would watch and think, oh god, this is gonna mess me up. It's more like the example. the weird thing with mine is they're all pretty much children's films that sort of have got me in the past. I famously cried at the first Monsters Inc. When Boo came back, ruined me. There's a film. It did ruin me. There's a film called The Wizard, which is a really old film, and it's got Fred Savage in it, and it's based around Nintendo. Yeah, so it's this boy. He's traveling across the country. He's got an autistic brother who's really good at Nintendo, and he wants to go to California, and that's the whole story. And I hadn't watched it in years, like 20 plus years, and I thought, I've got to watch it again. And I was sitting there watching it, and the ending, like, there's a reason you find out why he wants to go to California, which I'm not going to spoil because you should watch the film. Good Lord. I was just watching that and just thinking, I just can't end this. This is just too full on. Seeing, like, again, because it's like kids sort of being upset about a particular thing. On a much lighter note, Star Wars, when Han Solo got killed by Kylo Ren, good God, that messed me up.
And another lighter note, T2 Judgment Day. I
watched that on the weekend, and that is such an amazing film.
Oh, it's incredible.
Such an amazing film. I hadn't seen it for a while. I was listening to Guns N' Roses on Saturday while washing the cars, and I thought, I need to watch
You Could Be Mine.
You Could Be Mine. How good is that song?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, Terminator 2, amazing.
Music doesn't get me going, to be fair. I don't cry at music.
Doesn't it?
Actually, that's such a big lie. Like, emotional songs, if it's got a meaning to it, like some songs.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, I don't know whether it's as I've become a father and, you know, changes in life and things like that. I think, you know, as you get older, you start to lose people in your life, and I think that's another thing that kind of links to it all.
Association, definitely. Association is the big thing, isn't it?
I sometimes think it's good to have a good cry sometimes. Let it out, Matt.
Yeah, that's it. One episode, maybe in a future season, we'll have a crying episode. How about that?
Cry for an hour.
Yeah, it'll be a group thing. Like, everyone get on the comments. Let's just all have a cry. It'll be fine. Indeed. We'll work it out.
Well, thanks for that question, Mark. We actually were really pleased when that question came in, because we thought it was quite an interesting one to answer. Sorry, just quickly, Phil. I also cry at really good. Oh, sorry, really good fuck yeah moments in films and shows.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good, powerful, like, they did it.
Yeah. Get in, you bastard. Anyway, another question, Mark. I'm sure, hopefully, we might be lucky enough, and we'll talk about it later. Mark might be joining us at some point next week. Maybe you could do a live question mark while he's on air.
It's like having Father Christmas, you know.
Next week
show himself, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's move on to stories that have caught our eye over the past week. One thing I mentioned last week, when we had Martin on the show, was that I'd been watching Andor, and I think I'd binge watched episodes 7, 8 and 9 all together, and then wasn't actually sure whether that was the end or not. It turns out there was an episode 10. I actually, not being a massive Star Wars fan, I actually ended up really enjoying the series. I think it was a bit of a slow burn to start with, but I think the peak and the finale was awesome, and the introduction of Andy Serkis in it was wicked.
Might be a controversial statement, but Andy Serkis winds me up a little bit, and I'm just going to throw that out there. He's not a man's friend, but he's one of those people where I think everyone hypes him. So, oh my God, it's Andy Serkis. Oh God, can't believe Andy Serkis isn't in this. You know, I don't know. I just, he's all right. I think he does a good job in certain things, but I think there's far too much hype behind him as an actor. But no, that's just me. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought the ending was really interesting, and to see where it's going to go as well. From they're doing a season 2, as we mentioned last week. I think that was the story that I brought to the show last week, and it was just a big and a bit like what Phil said, a big fuck yeah moment at the end of the episode where. But, you know, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it did have that sort of feel where there was an uprising, and you know, it had a real good feel-good moment towards the end.
Yeah.
Why you've not watched it, have you?
No. No, I've not watched any of it, and completely agree with the comment from the Quizler. I loved Rogue One. Rogue One for me was amazing. Rogue One for me was quite emotional as well, I think, because you were seeing, and it was one of those fuck yeah moments. Like, it was something you'd heard about. You knew what had happened in terms of getting the plans to the Death Star, but you were seeing it, and you were seeing the struggle, you were seeing the sacrifice of it. Do I need an origin story for one of the characters in that? Probably not. No, and that's why I've not bothered with it. It didn't have enough draw as such to me. It felt like it was something you didn't necessarily need as such. But yeah, that's just.
I think
me.
Again, I think for you, I know because we've spoken about it before with Star Wars. What you want is new stories, new ideas.
Exactly.
And to some extent, I actually think this would tick a lot of them boxes because there are new characters. There's not any other than obviously, is it Cassian or whatever his name is, the main dude.
I can't remember his name.
Other than him, like there's no one on there. Although someone did make an appearance I think it was in the 9th episode. Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Let's call him John.
John turned up right on episode 9, and I went, I've seen him in this before. Hello, John. But there are some really interesting stories in this, which I think you would quite like.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend.
I will check it out.
There will be.
Point.
I'd say a 1-minute review coming. I've probably just done it, but. Whatever.
Well, we'll just clip that bit and just
clip that. We'll post that out. But you've also got some Star Wars news.
Yeah, and what you just said, being really excited about like new stuff. Like let's add to the universe and add things. And Studio Ghibli, who are a Japanese animation studio who have done amazing, My Neighbor Totoro, and like these incredible films. Tweeted Lucasfilm, like that they were doing a collaboration with Lucasfilm, and I thought, wow, like what a combination of like two things I absolutely love. How that would work out, I just don't know. It'd just be incredible. Unfortunately, and I'm going to say unfortunately because I was a little bit underwhelmed. What they actually did was a short film, and it was, I can't remember, what's it called? Zen, Grogu and the Dust Bunnies was what they did, which I watched earlier. Honestly, it's just come on. I really hope that this is like a start of a relationship that will then continue and bear a lot more fruit in terms of what's released. But like this, it was just this token, like line drawing of Grogu and these dust bunnies going around him, whatever.
You just reminded me then of a scene from The Office when David Brent goes on a blind date and he's waiting in the pub and he's standing there talking to the camera, and then he looks around because she goes, David, and he looks around and he goes, oh, for fuck's sake. That's what you just reminded me of then.
It was pretty much that. That was my reaction to it. Thinking, what could it be? There's all this mystery, and you're like, oh right, yeah. Nice one. That's it's terrible, but yeah, it's. Let's hope they've now got that relationship, and we'll now get some great stuff. Like a full length film by them in the universe of Star Wars, my God, that would blow my mind. It would be incredible. So yeah, I'm crossing everything for that. So yeah.
Nice. You also said, I think we've got time to squeeze this in, some Marvel news that you saw.
Yeah, which
I don't think I've seen it either.
So I think it was a leak as such. I don't know whether it was like an insider or whatever that was tweeting about this last week. But apparently Tom Holland has signed a new deal, or it's rumoured he's signed a new deal, which is not for one film, but for 6 films that he's going to appear in as Spider-Man.
Well, he'll see it through, won't he? I think he'll go all the way up to we'll be like, how old will we be? Probably in our 50s by then. But by the time whatever the last one is, the Kang Dynasty and all that.
The films that they've released titles of, or this leak has sort of mentioned titles in the films. Daredevil Born Again, apparently is the first one. Spider-Man 4, The Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars, Spider-Man 5, and Spider-Man 6.
Blimey.
Is apparently what he's signed a contract for. Whether there's truth in it or not, I don't know, but it's then meant to be a relevant source. So yeah.
Phil says has to be in Secret Wars. Then we get Black Suit Spider-Man. Then Venom. Ooh. Venom. Well, they must be building towards that as well, just because of how some of the films have played out with Tom Hardy's Venom and some of the symbiote being left behind in one universe.
I get a bit of reassurance from the news, if I'm honest. With so many reboots and so many blah blah blah, like to know that there's an element of consistency in it, I sort of like that.
He's also young enough as well.
That's very true. Yeah.
No, if we had, I mean, even poor old Samuel L. Jackson, do you know what I mean? If he's pushing into Secret Wars and things like that, he's going to be.
Yeah. Oh, he's really old at the moment, isn't he?
60
something now.
Do you reckon he's 60 something?
Yeah, I think so. Shall we do a little Google?
Let's have a little Google, because there's a few characters now that I think they're working towards getting the young Avengers. I think Martin said that last week as well.
Wow. Right. Your guess was 60 something. Yeah, he's just turned 30. Connie has guessed late 50s. Lots of guessing in this episode, which I like. I like a good guessing game. He is 73 years old.
Get out of town.
Yeah, 73 years old. He was born on the 21st December 1948.
Jeez.
How about that? I would never have guessed.
Well, he ain't got many more left in him then, bless him.
No, exactly. They better start filming, is what I would say.
Wow. Get him done, mate. Come on, Kevin Feige.
No, just CGI him. It'll be fine.
Indeed. Well, let's. We've got a couple of things to round up on. Weekly discoveries. I've got a couple. The first one, because he told me to say it. It's been really annoying me all week. My son George has learnt. This is his discovery.
Go on.
How to click.
Nice.
Fuming, mate. Fuming. It's doing me head in because he's literally in bed going. And not just that, I took him football training. I know we've talked a lot about sport this week as well, but I took him football training on Saturday morning. I could see him going round to every one of the kids, whispering in their ear, and then going, "Hey," like showing them that he can click. Like, look at this. It's like
I can't click. I can't click like that. I have to do it like that.
What did you just do? I mean, that.
Yeah,
I can't even see what you're doing.
It's like that's it. I never could learn it properly. So
it's almost as weird as this. Have you seen this one?
Oh, what's that?
It's that.
That's odd. That's odd, isn't it?
Anyway, there's one weekly discovery, and I told him I'd tell him that on the show this week. But this is the one. Right now, again, what's wrong with your hands, Matt? Says Phil.
It's just how they work. Like, what can I do?
He's got like Jeremy Beadle hands. Anyway, R.I.P. He's dead, isn't he?
I think so.
Don't Google it.
If not Jeremy, next season.
Hope you and the family are well. That's the sort of thing that like Russell Brand would have got kicked off of the show for. But anyway, and again, another subject we've talked about a couple of times this week is our history of working together. So many moons ago, you and I went to a little old place called Den Haag in Holland. And whilst there, more
lovely
so
place as well. Thoroughly recommend it.
It's lovely. Shout out to Den Haag, all the listeners. There's none. There in the duty free there, we brought back quite possibly the best chocolate we had ever experienced.
Tony's,
which is now everywhere.
If you buy in Sainsbury's now, it don't really count anymore.
That's £17 a bar, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, Matt, have you heard who Tony's is collabing with?
No. What? Not Brewdog again? Because they did the
Brewdog
done that. One. Yeah, go on.
Ben and Jerry's.
Oh. Now that's good, isn't it?
Tony's Chocolate Honies with Ben and Jerry's, and it's got like a salted caramel swirl. It's chocolate ice cream with the Tony's Chocolate Honey in it.
Take my money.
And they've got, in case, because we cater for all here. They've also got a dairy-free version as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
when's this coming out then? What's the deal? It's out now, is it?
Yeah.
Where can you buy it?
What time does Morrison shut? What time does saying that? What have you got near you?
Well, it's a very small town here, and they shut an hour ago. No, 2 hours ago. Actually, Sainsbury's.
Tomorrow, first thing, 7:00.
First thing tomorrow. No work until I find this ice cream. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible, the chocolate. They've got their Christmas bars out, I think, ready to go as well. So I haven't had it yet, but I've discovered it and I'm getting it.
That is pretty awesome, isn't it?
You got any discoveries for this week?
I have a discovery, but like I said earlier, it's a bit of a rent discovery. It's one of those things. It's a tricky situation that we find ourselves in with technology, and this is what it is. I'm a big fan of 90s alternative rock music. One of the bands being Alice in Chains. Love Alice in Chains. Don't know whether anyone...
That one, yeah.
It's not that. Don't know whether anyone else in the comments knows of that band. They have an album called Dirt. I thought, I'm going to listen to this album. Great. Put it on Spotify. I've got it on CD, but I had my phone. Put it on Spotify. It's the 2022 remaster of this album that they put on there. 30-year anniversary, because it's quite an old album. Sounds awful. And I put it on. First song came on. That don't sound right. I just can't listen to it. I then had a look, because sometimes with the remasters, they'll have the other versions on Spotify. Look, you've got like the Whenever remaster or the original version. That they've erased all other versions apart from this remaster, which sounds wrong, in my opinion. It's like, what's going on with that?
Just on Spotify or everywhere?
On Spotify. Well, I've looked on Spotify only because that's the only subscription thing I've got.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird. Like I guess it's the danger of streaming that you can update and whatever, but I don't get it when you listen. Like, that's your only option. The beauty of having Spotify is you can have all these different things on it. Why take away the original? Like, didn't the band prefer this new one that much? But it just
what doesn't sound right about it then?
You
think a remaster would be better?
Well, in theory you would think so, but it just when like. I don't know whether there are any songs or any albums that you've listened to so many times. Like that album's 30 years old. I've probably owned the CD of that since it come out, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've listened to it. So I know it inside out. It's like a feeling now. As soon as I put it on, first song, like there's something wrong with that. It sounds like the album is really what's the word? Quite thick and claustrophobic is the only way I can describe the mix. It's quite a dark album. It's about sort of addiction and depression. It's like pretty intense, and it feels like that. Whereas this bright, it sounds like a Bon Jovi record, and I don't want Alice in Chains to sound like a Bon Jovi record. Is the way I describe it.
Sorry, Matt. Do you ever have them moments where something happens and you go, That's so weird. I was literally just thinking about that. Or someone said something and you go, that is so weird. I was literally just telling you.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
As you were saying that about the album, I was thinking, I've got a Bon Jovi album that is like a greatest hits.
Yeah.
And I remember getting it thinking, this has got all Bon Jovi's greatest hits on it. Put it on, and it was some sort of like smooth, sort of jazzed up hymn. It was live. I hated it. It, and it's annoyingly, it's still on my iPod. So
on the contrary, like to what I've just said about Alice in Chains, I read like The Weeknd, another artist I like, a more modern artist, has said that he's considering.
Alison. Sorry, it's Alison.
First name Alison, surname Chains.
A married name or a maiden name?
No, it's Alice in Chains, just for confirmation. But The Weeknd has said that he's thinking of pulling his. He had 3 like mixtape albums that he released himself that they would then put out as a trilogy, and it's called The Trilogy. That's on the streaming platforms. He's thinking of getting rid of that because when they released that, there were like when he originally independently released them, there were samples that they couldn't clear, and it sounds really different. And he prefers that original version. He's thinking of pulling the new version off of streaming sites because he thinks it's not as good as the old one. So other way around for an artist.
Very strange. Very strange. Well, there you go. Alice in Chains news there, everyone. Go and check the album out, the remastered one. See what you think.
Yeah, but listen to the original first. Buy the CD.
You can't find it anywhere, mate.
Like old people do.
Can't find it anywhere. It's gone. Well, the last thing we've got to talk about, unless you've got anything else, Matt.
No. Let's talk about an important thing.
Let's talk about the important thing. The next episode is finally is our 100th episode of This Week in Metropolis. And we want to celebrate that. We mentioned it at the beginning of the series. I think it was on the fly I mentioned it, but we've put some thought into it. We want to have it as a big celebration. We want to invite all of you, anyone who's listening, anyone who's watching. If you want to get onto our show live and join us, we will be happy to have you. The plan, as we've got it in our heads, is that at any one time there will be me, Matt, and 2 other guests. Now we will send out the invite, so the link for you to join the show, and we'll send that out to you, or we'll message you. We'll probably put it in the chat, whatever. And as people come in, you'll be waiting in the lobby, background, green room, whatever you want to call it. We'll know you're there. You'll still be able to watch the show while you're there. And then at some point, I think we'll probably do like 10-minute sessions, maybe, as one person's. It might only start with 3 of us, and then bring someone in, take someone out, and we'll move it around. But we would love for all of you, if you're up for it, to come and join us. I mean, we've been lucky enough to have a lot of you guys as guests on our show, and vice versa. We've been on some of yours as well. But yeah, it'd be amazing if you could all get involved. The show will be a similar format to today's. So, sorry, I've just seen Phil's comment. Your viewers will want me in for the full show length. This is true, Phil. This is true, but we're not that good.
Can't have too much of a good thing, can you?
No,
you need to restrict yourself.
It's a bit like Toadie's chocolate.
You couldn't eat Tony's chocolate all the time; it'd ruin you, wouldn't it? So
Yeah, you will literally die.
So we want it as a party. I think is the way I look at it. It's a party. Everyone's invited.
Yeah.
Get everyone in there. We'll talk about the stuff we always talk about. But
bring your own topics as well. If there's something you want to talk about while you're on. We won't be doing it next week. That's the big news. So the news is the episode will go out on the 29th of November. That will be the final episode of season 11, our 100th. And then we'll go off into the sunset for a nice long break over the Christmas period. And then we'll be back in the new year for season 12, where we'll start again. We'll aim for 200.
We will be the 2023 remaster of This Week in Metropolis.
It's going to sound shit.
It's awful.
We're going to have American. No, you can't do that because we've got American friends. Anywho, so yeah, a couple of weeks time.
Yeah. If you're interested, send us a message on Instagram. I think it's probably the best thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just show your interest, give us a poke. We're also, just to add to it, we're also going to try and invite or attempt to invite a load of guests that we've had on through previous seasons as well. Yeah. So we'll be bringing back, hopefully, a lot of old people. So
they're not old in age. Yeah,
they're not literally old. A lot of people that we met and absolutely loved speaking to before. People on this series, even
not the ones we didn't particularly like.
No. So if you don't get an invite, that's we didn't enjoy the episode that much.
It's because Matt didn't like you. I love you all. Just so you know, guys. I'm all about the love. I'm a very emotional guy. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, that's it. Chance to have to cry at the end.
Matt's got no heart, so if you didn't impress him, you're off the list. Okay.
So, yeah.
But yeah, listen, we look forward to it. We're really excited to celebrate that. We'll send out the links and so forth, and hopefully it'd be good to see a few friendly faces, and not just in the chat. We'll have you on the show as well.
Yeah.
So that's about it for this week, I'd say, Matt.
It is.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been good. Yeah, and it's good that, in our relationship, we can still just be the two of us and the conversation doesn't dry up.
That's because we don't work together anymore, mate.
That is, exactly. Save it up once a week. Get it out. Done.
Get it out and we're done.
Yeah.
And speaking of done, we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time for the 100th. It's definitely 100.
It is definitely 100. We've done the maths.
We've done the maths. Right. It's all true.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Stay safe. Take care. Brush your hair.
I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as we did. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future episodes.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on all social media. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.